What's up, man? It's Bill Staxx. I'm back with Colby. What's up, Colby?
How are we doing?
Chilling, man. So you said earlier you're gonna break down.
The exact chronology of my path to becoming a dark web drug dealer, right?
Let's get down to business, man.
So, 2018, I'm 19 years old. I'm with my high school friends. We're like stereotypical, like nerdy / geeky type guys. We like playing video games. We like to smoke weed. Like occasionally do shrooms and stuff like that, right? So one day, I go to like our stomping ground, and one of my friends has the prettiest ounce of weed I've ever seen up to this point. You're from Connecticut, right?
Yeah.
How shitty is the weed out here?
Yeah. Bristol Brown.
Bristol Brown, exactly. Right? So I know two things. Number one, this didn't come from Connecticut. Number two, my friend does not have the social skills to acquire this in person, right?
Well, he's like an awkward guy.
He's not awkward. It's just he's not gonna he's gonna be nervous to go up to people and like actually face to face, like, hey, let me buy some fire weed from you, because you're gonna have to go probably to like Hartford or Waterbury, the big cities in Connecticut, and go deal with somebody. He's not gonna want to do that. He's that's gonna make him uncomfortable. So I'm asking him, I'm like, how did you get this, bro? And he's like, come here. So I sit next to him. He pulls out a laptop, and I'm like, why are you doing that? He's like, shh, just listen. He proceeds to go on to the dark web. Now, I've heard of the dark web. I thought it was bullshit at the time, right? He goes on to this specific market called Dream Market at the time. Sure, some of the listeners know Dream Market was, a couple years ago, the biggest darknet market in the world. Millions and millions of users, and it was around for a long time. So he tells me, give me $200. I'll get you your own ounce of weed. I'm like, you telling me weed this good is only $200? He said, yeah. I'm like, well, how, who are we paying? Are someone going to come here? He's like, no one's going to drive to our house. He's like, actually, someone is going to drive to the house. I'm like, who? He said, the USPS postman is going to come bring it to us. And I looked at him. I'm like, you're insane. What are you talking about? The postman's going to bring us drugs. He's like, give me $200. I'll have it sent to my house because you don't trust the process. Just wait. 4 or 5 days later, he's like, hey, come link up with me. USPS flat rate mail envelope. Slaps it down on the table. He said, open that. I open it up. There's a vacuum sealed ounce of weed, and the address was from Oregon. I'm like, what the fuck? He's like, yeah, so I took two...
Vacuum sealed in there?
In the USPS flat rate mail envelope. It really worked. You got drugs in the mail. I'm like, you got drugs in the mail? He's like, yeah. I'm like, an ounce of weed, right? So time goes on. We're doing weed, and then one day I'm like, can we get acid? Can we get shrooms? Because we like doing that stuff ourselves. Yeah. So we get acid and shrooms and all that type of stuff. Just normal college kid party stuff, right?
Yeah.
One day, my dumbass gets the bright idea of, hey guys, why don't we sell the weed we get? Because it's better than all the weed around here.
To the people you know around town.
Exactly.
And you'll make a lot of money.
Exactly.
And I'll get rich being a drug dealer, right?
Yes.
I used to think like that too.
Yes.
Quite a bit.
Yeah. So eventually we get working with some people. It gets to the point where I'm just like, listen, I can have the shit mailed to your front door. And these local dealers are like, what? And we actually get it. And it's at the point where they just drop off money in an envelope. And then 5-6 days later, whatever they order at their door, we're not even handling drugs ourselves, right? So one of the people I was working with was like, hey, I could introduce you to my dad. And I'm like, why? Does he want weed? He's like, no, he doesn't sell weed. I'm like, what does he sell? He sells coke. And I'm like, ooh, I don't know about that. He's like,
that's like a little crossing the line.
Yeah, it's crossing the line, right?
Narcotic scale, right?
Exactly. Like I was okay. I wasn't even selling shrooms and acid and stuff. That was just personal use. My thing was weed.
So you guys, this kid comes to you and says, I'm gonna introduce you to my dad. What happens next?
So eventually he convinces me. I made the choice. I'm not blaming anybody else. I made the choice to go meet his dad.
He convinces me.
He convinces me.
Sounds good, bro.
Right? So I meet his dad. He's like, so you could get drugs off the computer. Because I've already seen, my son has showed me the weed you could get. Takes his wallet out. His wallet is fat. It's just hundreds. There had to be probably $15,000 just in his wallet. Puts $100 in my hand. He's like, order me an ounce of Coke. Any ounce of Coke. I don't care.
For
Not
$100?
Not ounce, excuse me, gram.
Oh,
My bad. I misspoke.
Yeah.
Oh shit! An
All right,
ounce of
say it
Coke
again.
for $100.
Yeah. So he slams out $100 bucks.
Takes $100, puts it in my hand. He says, "Give me a sample. Give me a gram." No, nothing crazy.
Just one, yeah.
Right? My friends and I, none of us did cocaine at the time.
You guys are all like, oh, right at the
No,
time.
we do it. We just do it.
Were you nervous though about crossing that
No,
line to go to
we were
narcotics?
nervous about actually selling the cocaine once we got it, but getting it in the mail, no, we weren't nervous about that. Because we know at this point, we've been to several different people that sold various shit, so we know if it's a good rated vendor, we know he's going to have the intelligence to package it up, right. The scary part is actually getting it to us, dealing with the hand-to-hand transactions of people in real life with cocaine.
Once you get it, you have to give it off to another person, and you don't know.
That's where it gets sticky. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because with weed, I'm just talking to other like high school friends and kids. But with cocaine, that's when guns start getting involved. That's when stuff starts getting serious.
People will kill you for cocaine. For the money is a lot higher.
Exactly. But I didn't realize what I was playing with, right? So the sample comes, and we get it. We bring it to him. We test it. And shit was like 90% pure, right? It was fire, right? So he's like, how much is like a QP? And I tell him the price. And he's like, that is...
How much was the price? Do you remember?
Like 36.
For a QP?
Of pure
cocaine?
Pure, yeah. It's online. It's at scale.
3.5?
No,
Wait,
4 ounces.
4 ounces.
Yeah.
Of cocaine.
Mm-hmm.
30,000?
$33,600.
So it's kilo, right? Two point.
No, the kilos were like
two
the kilos were like
32,000.
32,000. 2.2 pounds is a kilo.
Oh, but he didn't want a kilo.
No, he wanted 4 ounces.
Oh. So it was how much for 4 ounces?
About 3,600 at the time, and we could take that and cut it directly in half and turn that to 8 ounces.
So were you like, damn, that's a lot to order at first?
No.
Or you're just like, fuck
Because
it?
again, we've already been getting multiple pounds of weed. We've been processing like 10-pound orders and shit like that. So the dollar amount wasn't scary. What was scary was
When you got the 10-pound orders, how big were the boxes when they would come in?
like a large flat rate mail, like the boxes that you'd get, because the weed would be vacuum sealed. Like it was bricked. When we would get it, it was good weed.
They got a fucking cart. Shit. Fucking here. Your cocaine's here. Your fucking. It's
Believe
my
it or
TV,
not,
man.
there are literally billions of dollars of drugs that go through the mail.
Packages every day that are
Every
flying
day.
all over the
Millions
country.
of dollars worth of packages every
I know.
day,
I
right?
know, yeah.
So the cocaine shows up, and then this guy's good. He gave
Open
us,
it's a lot, right?
I don't even open it. I just bring it right to them. Here you go. They open it. They're like, this is amazing. So they cut it, turned it in 8 ounces, and then they sold it. And they were like, here's the money for the re-up. Here's your portion. And I'm like, oh my God.
How much did they give you?
I made, I think, about $3,000. $3,000 and some change off that, just as like my point, just to get it. Because again,
How quick was the turnaround for it?
2 days, man. Like 2 days.
Wow.
He was already selling a ton of blow at the time, so like I didn't realize like I have weed, right?
He
And
had
I'm like,
connections
cocaine is
all over.
yeah.
Right?
He was
Yeah.
he was breaking it down himself and everything, and he still had people that he could sell ounce to, QP to, but he just wanted to start
Now,
with
so
like a
you're starting to become the man in your town.
in terms of weed, I was a reasonably sized person with weed, but with the cane, like when it started, man, it started like we were going.
No, like you're putting these dudes on. Like
Yeah.
this guy,
Well,
you're
no, we're
putting
not
him
telling
on.
them we're getting anything. I just like I have a guy in Cali, and it's like give me the money and we'll have it sent to your house. They don't know. I mean, the drugs literally show up in the mail. So as far as they know, I just know some guy. You know what I mean?
And it takes the risk off you if it's getting delivered right to them.
Mm-hmm. And let's think about it. Let's say they get hemmed up by the police, and they're like, "This dude knows a guy." The police come and talk to me. Here's my phone. Look, find the guy. I'm not talking to anybody. I'm on the dark web ordering it, anonymously. Like, okay, where are my phone records? Who's the guy that you could find? Look, there's no guy.
It doesn't exist. So
Exactly.
It's kind of like the people are full of shit.
Exactly. So it couldn't really blow back to me. So, you know, after a couple months of us doing this, we made good money. Eventually, we get to the point where we're ordering entire kilos off there and just, you know, doing what we do. One day, you know, at this point, he's my business partner. Like, the kid's dad is my full-fledged business partner now. He calls me.
You guys are cool. You guys are
hell yeah,
dealing
fuck yeah,
business
we're
all
cool.
the time.
Yeah.
You guys are...
Calls me up one day. He's like, I want to talk to you about something, but in person. I'm like, oh, is it bad? He's like, no, it's good. But I just want, you know, can't talk about this shit over the phone. I'm like, okay. I'm thinking, like, why would he? What are we about to talk about? So I get there, and he's like, listen, shit's getting a little hot with the coke. A lot of people that I've been selling it to, like the dealer level, they've been getting busted. So far, nothing's happened, but we gotta stop this shit for the meantime, you know? Because we've already made a decent amount of money. There's no point in getting caught. A couple of the dealers that got caught, he already, you know, been there, done that. We know the dealers are eventually going to flip on you.
You guys felt like you were pushing it, right? Pushing the envelope. He kind of felt like that.
Yes.
And that's why he came to you for this
meeting. It got to the point where we were moving like 2.5 kilos a week, even though it was cut and everything.
In Winstead?
In the general area, not exactly in Winstead, but Torrington, Litchfield.
Torrington's a heavy recovery town, so
yeah,
probably a lot of relapses going on in that era. Right?
Yeah. So we get to talking, and he's like, "Well, if you're buying weed, you've bought shrooms, you bought acid. Clearly, we're buying cocaine." He's like, "Where are we getting this stuff from?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't really know the people." And he's like, "That's not what I mean. Is it like a central site? It's like its own business, or is it like Amazon with how people sign up and then sell shit through there?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's like Amazon." He's like, "Okay, so let me ask you this now. What's stopping us from being the people that send the shit to other people?" I'm like, "Well,
being the middleman.
No, being the dude on the computer everybody buys the drugs from."
Yeah, being the guy, the server, the main hub.
Yeah.
And then,
so I'm like, well,
but that's
you gotta pay a vendor bond, meaning you gotta put up some money to show that you're not just some.
How much is that?
$750.
It's kind of a lot if you don't have nothing, you know. You're starting off, you don't have shit.
And also, I'm telling him, it's like we're winning right now with the coke game because we're the only people. Like, we're getting really fire coke. Some people are paying a premium for the fire coke, and other people are paying for 50% cut coke. But that's still really good for Connecticut, and they're buying it at a fucking super reduced price, right?
Yeah. So it's going.
Right? So my point is that we have a competitive advantage. But on the computer, it's more like a business. It's more like you're on Amazon. Like, if you look up cocaine, there's like 20 dudes who realistically could fulfill, let's say, an ounce order of cocaine. There's tons of people. So you need to have an appeal. You need to have a reason as to why these people are going to choose you over somebody else. And we had no idea what product we were going to sell. You don't want to grow weed because weed is the most saturated product on the dark web, just like how it's the most saturated product in
Are they still selling weed on the dark web, even though it's like getting legal now?
Yeah,
is it still
of
there
course.
for a lot cheaper, or
it's still there? It's still there.
Is it cheaper, like very cheap? Or?
Yeah, it really depends on the vendor you go to. I haven't been on the dark web, in a couple of years, right? But when I was there, I assume now there's still weed on there because the dark web still exists.
Yeah.
When I was there was cheap. There was Mexican brickweed all the way up to like super hydro, like everything in between that you could get, right? So, and that brings us to what product are we really gonna sell? Like, what could we do and get a competitive advantage for? He's like, listen, I knew a group of Mexican guys, who came over from Mexico and they set up shop. They got a pill press and they were cranking out blues. You know what blues are?
Oh man,
blues are counterfeit Percocet 30s.
Well, I know what blues are, the real blues. I know what those were.
Yeah, these are not the real ones.
Yeah, the counterfeit. I don't know about the counterfeit.